Welcome to Time Dog News with your anchor Jack Brown and Jelani Brown on sports.
Welcome and good morning. Today we have a special report from sports with Jelani Brown.
Today the Seattle Seahawks made a touchdown on the fourth down on the last.
I'm sorry, I've just been handed this report and frankly it's really urgent. I'm sorry, Jelani.
I give up.
At 11:20 this morning, two teenagers by the names of Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris walked into their school, Columbine High, took out their guns, and opened fire on the students and teachers. So stay tuned after these commercials for the rest of the report, because you will want to hear this. The question currently in everybody's head is, why would these two teenagers shoot up their school? Today, we're going to find out why. We believe the first way to do this is to cover the killer's past. Dylan Klebold was born September 11th, 1981 in Lakewood, Colorado. His father was a geophysicist, a geologist that uses physics in his studies, and his mother worked with the disabled. He wasn't raised violently, he wasn't beaten. He seemed to be a perfectly normal child who loved baseball. His family was, upper middle class, so he didn't have any monetary issues. When he went to elementary school, he entered a gifted students program. He was very talented with grammar and words. In his freshman year, Klebold met Eric Harris. Klebold's interest moved on to bowling, filmmaking, and also, like any teen, he enjoyed violent video games. Dylan didn't fit in at school. He was a little bad with romance and was shunned from most cliques. Here we have a couple actually typed up versions of his journal. I quote, "Yo, what's up? Heh 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 heh. You know what's weird? Everyone knows everyone. I swear, like I'm an outcast. And everyone is conspiring against me. Check it. This isn't good, but I need to write, so here. I have lost my emotions, like in Hurt, the song. People eventually find happiness. I never will. Does that make me a non-human? Yes." End quote. With these thoughts in mind, Klebold began to hate school and all of its students. Now, stay tuned for part 2 of this report, Eric Harris's background. We'll see you in a minute.
Introducing
Google Glass.
with new swipe technology.
And we're back with the Columbine Killers case. To recap, two teenagers ran into the school Columbine High in Littleton, Colorado, and opened fire on the students and teachers. Now, let's return to our background information on Eric Harris. Eric Harris was born in Wichita, Kansas on April 9th, 1981. His father was a retired Air Force pilot. As a young child, Eric moved to many different areas. He was a normal, happy child until he got to Littleton, Colorado in 1993. According to our sources, he did not fit in with the jock culture at Columbine High. He was bullied. He was socially awkward. The things he wrote in his journal were vulgar and profane. But Eric had a point to make. For the sake of younger viewers, we will censor out all profanity. We learn more than what caused the Civil War and how to simplify quadratics in school. We have been watching you people. We know what you think and how you act. All talk and no actions. People who are said to be brave or courageous are usually just stupid. Then they say later that they did it on purpose because they are brave when they did it on f***ing accident. I know I will die soon, so will you and everyone else. Maybe we'll be lucky and a comet will smash us back to day one. With these thoughts in his head too, Harris also shared Klebold's hate for Columbine High. When Dylan and Eric became friends was when they began to openly show their anger towards the students. They picked on younger kids, jocks, nerds, etc. Dylan was also popular at school for writing disgusting, gory passages and narratives in his English class, while Eric wrote violent rants on his website. In fact, he wrote the number and the personal information of the following student on his site, Brooks Brown. When Brooks's parents asked a private investigator to look around, he found a list of the people that the killers wanted to see harmed and notes about Klebold and Harris's bomb making. Many people ignored the fact that the killers had begun to dress in dark coats, salute violent dictators, and talk in an undertone for a lot of the school day. Dylan and Eric eventually began to plan an attack on their school. They called this Judgment Day. They made a list of targets, detailed maps of the school, obtained weapons from currently unknown sources, and bombs. Dylan codenamed himself Vodka and Eric Red. They made sets of videos of them practicing their aim and explaining their plan. Observe.
For years, you're gonna pay for all the shit. We don't give a shit, because we're gonna die doing it.
Coming up after these messages, a fully detailed play-by-play of the shooting.
Are you filming this?
No! CNN has generously provided us with a narrative version of the shooting. Craig?
Thank you, Jack. The killers missed their first 3 classes of the day, Eric missing a big test. They arrive at school and start preparing. Brooks Brown steps outside for a cigarette and jokingly confronts Eric about the test. Eric says, "Brooks, I like you. Go home. Now." Brooks heads home feeling uneasy as he turns and sees Klebold and Harris unloading duffel bags out of their car. At 11:15 a.m., they carry 2 duffel bags, each full of a 20-pound propane bomb, out of the car, and set them in the cafeteria. The bombs were set to go off 2 minutes later, at 11:17. The boys, dressed in black leather dusters, wait in the car. By 11:18 a.m., the bombs were still quiet. They had set another bomb earlier in the field at Wadsworth Boulevard. That bomb goes off and the killers hear the police head towards the diversion. The bombs in the cafeteria are still quiet. Dylan and Eric get irritated and head to the school loaded with guns, knives, and smaller bombs. They walk towards the west entrance, shooting the students on the steps, killing 2 of them. They run in and spray the area with bullets. People run away, terrified. Dylan goes off to check on the cafeteria bombs, while Eric stays shooting at a teacher and another student. The school's security guards get involved and returns fire at Klebold and Harris. The boys get to the cafeteria, which is empty due to the quick thinking of the teachers. Here is some security footage of the cafeteria. The boys move up to the second floor and fatally injure Coach Dave Sanders, who dies later while calling for help that never comes. Dylan and Eric move to the science room and attempt to blow up the school again by putting a pipe bomb near the gas spigots. Again, they fail. The library is the next location. A terrified teacher named Patty Nielsen is in the library dialing 911. The boys run in and shout, "All jocks stand up!" When no one volunteers, the library and the people inside is filled with bullets. They go throwing explosives and shooting the police out of the windows. They let some people pass and leave the school. One boy even asks, "What are you doing?" The boys reply by saying, "Just killing people." They said it as if it was an ordinary practice of theirs. Then they let the boy go free. Others are not as lucky. Many get shot, others lie in pools of blood, faking their deaths. People die on 911. Klebold and Harris attempt to blow the school up once more. Nothing happens. They decide to face their defeat. They put their guns to their head and open fire. Back to you, Jack.
13 dead, 24 injured. Friends and family are devastated. Officers and SWAT team members scout the school carefully in fear of booby traps. The injured are taken care of and the school is cleared. The county was sued, the Klebolds and Harrises were sued, the school was sued, law enforcement, etc. By request of the parents of the deceased, we will now have a tribute to the killed students of Columbine High. Cassie Burnham, Steve Kerna, Corey DePuter, Kelly Fleming, Matt Ketcher, Daniel Mauser, Daniel Robro, Rachel Scott, Isaiah Scholes, John Tomlin, Lauren Townsend, Kyle Velasquez, and Coach David Sanders. Right after these messages, we will have renowned psychologist Dr. Snyder and Dr. Stevens come in for an interview.
Introducing the Walker Helpers. It helps you walk. You can throw it at people. You can drink water out of it. It's customizable.
Or those Walker helpers?
Yeah, they are. Don't you? Oh.
Stupid.
Here are some satisfied customers.
They're great.
Changed my life.
Cut. I hate this crap.
And now we're back to the question that's been buzzing in everyone's head since the beginning of the report. Why would they do this? Here are renowned psychologists, Dr. Snyder and Dr. Stevens. Bob?
Oh, I didn't notice you there. So thank you for coming, doctors. What was your first reaction to the Columbine shooting?
Well, my mother called me this morning and said that there had been a school shooting in Colorado. I was appalled. I had never heard of a school shooting before in my life. My first question was, why? Being a psychologist, I decided to find out. You wouldn't believe how many records of these guys' lives have been released.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens.
I was surprised, like Snyder. I had never heard of a school shooting this big before in my life, believe it or not.
So, focusing on the idea of nature versus nurture, do you think the Columbine killers were natured or nurtured into it?
So I definitely classify it as nature. The biggest reason is because these two teams were very violent from their start. Psychologists conclude that Klebold and Harris had very violent thoughts for most of their time at Columbine. The second, both suffered from mental illnesses. And I don't mean like Down syndrome or autism. Klebold had many suicidal thoughts, according to the specialists. Harris had many anger issues. He wanted to hurt people. Harris was the one who had a bit more hate for the world, and Klebold followed. Here are actually some of the things that Eric wrote on his website. You know what I hate? People who say that wrestling is real. You know what I hate? People who use the same word over and over again. Read an effing book or two. Increase your vocabulary. Effing idiots. So the final statement I have on nature is the fact that these two boys weren't just getting revenge on the bullies. They were planning to blow up the school. They wanted to murder 600 people to be a message to the rest of the world and that they were coming. They wanted to become big serial killers. So you see, these guys could not have been nurtured into this because their lives were fine up until Columbine High. If they hated the world before and wanted to become symbols, why would they just all of a sudden attack their classmates?
Interesting.
On the other hand, I believe that they were nurtured into it, because if you say that they started expressing violence only when they got to Columbine, how could it have been nature? They were obviously bullied into it. Klebold lost lots of friends and had trouble with love. Eric hated people, yes, but was also picked on.
Ah, but here are a couple of seconds from their journals, and they do not talk about the people they hated, but more like how they just hated life and the world in general. Klebold. Ooh, God, I want to die so bad. Such a sad, desolate, lonely universe. Unsalvageable. I feel I am not there, not there. I wanted happiness. I never got it. Harris. I hate the effing world. Too many goddamn effers in it. Too many thoughts and societies all wrapped up together in this place called America. Everyone has their own goddamn opinion on every goddamn thing. And you may be saying, well, what makes you so different? So, as you can see, they didn't only hate the school.
Okay, but according to my sources, a juvenile hall report described Klebold as a bright young man who has a great deal of potential. And Harris, a bright young man who is likely to succeed in life. And his parents never thought anything was wrong with him. He had a good childhood.
Oh yeah? Well, I've got another piece of Eric's journal. But before I go to that, do you really think Klebold, the sad, suicidal one, the one who never spoke, would really show violence before the event? Now, to the journal. Harris states, I lie a lot. Almost constantly, and to everybody, almost to keep my own A out of the water. Let's see. What are some kind of big lies I told? Yeah, I stopped smoking. For doing it, not for getting caught. No, I haven't been making more bombs. No, I wouldn't do that. And countless other ones.
Yep, well guess what? Every child is born innocent. No baby has ever come out of the womb with a knife and tried to stab the doctor. So whatever it was, they were obviously nurtured into it.
You couldn't be more right, my friend. But think about it. Everyone is born with a choice. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold both chose to put the violent thoughts and acts into their nature. So, it was nature.
Calm down.
You can make yourself into whatever you want to be in nature. Nature.
Cut.
Nature, it's nature. You're wrong. You can't say it. No,
So there you have it, folks. The complete details on the nature behind the Columbine killers. The two high school seniors who took their lives after leaving their school defiled in a swirling pool of death. What could our community do to prevent more of this horrible violence? Help. If you see the earliest sign of violence in your child, help them. Get psychological attention immediately. Do this, and you might just prevent another Columbine shooting. This is Jack Brown reporting live from Time Dog News. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you for watching Time Dog News. Tune in next time